So this is all about the stance. We're going to have Jake here acting as my client, and he's going to get into a golf position, and then we're going to adjust him from there. Good.
Before we get into this, it's so important to note that a lot of you watching this right now have a compensatory stance. You've got this open stance because you got a bad hip, or sorry, open stance if you got a bad hip.
Yep.
You got this closed stance because you're trying to increase shoulder turn. You've got some type of orthopedic condition. Your back is bad, so you're altering your stance.
Yep.
Here's the most important thing to note is a proper stance using proper biomechanics will make the whole entire body work efficiently. As soon as we start compensating and doing things to compensate for a bad knee, a bad back, now the whole entire game has changed.
Yep.
So I strongly encourage you to get as close to what we're going to do right here, even though you may have a bad back, a bad knee, a bad hip as possible, because as we go through this program and you start to use your muscles and the right joints the right way, you're not going to even notice, or you shouldn't even notice the bad back, the bad hip, the bad knee.
Exactly. Stance is one of the most important things. That's why we're covering it first. If you have hunch in your back or you do something like that, you can't rotate. It's just what is going to happen. And if you can't rotate, you're going to use your arms. So a lot of the time, stance is the cause of a lot of problems. So let's make sure we get as close to good as we can.
Here we go.
Okay.
Now put the ball up.
Yeah, just ball position one of them.
Just get
Okay, so as you can see here from Jake, this is not the kind of position we would want him in with an iron. His shoulders are tilted. You see me? His shoulders are tilted like this, which is not that's a driver setup. I'm sure a lot of you still do this with irons anyway, but keep in mind with irons, we want to hit down. So you can see there's a little hunch in his back. I'm looking at his left shoulder here above his right shoulder. So we just want these things to kind of sort of even out. So the first thing I'm going to ask him to do is stand straight up. Real nice and tall, chest up. Yep. Now I'm going to ask him to unlock his knees and hinge at the hips and use his butt to push an imaginary door right here closed. So you'll note what the main thing I want you to notice there is when he got down into this posture, he didn't get down to the ball by bending his back. He got down to the ball by hinging at his hips, unlocking his knees, and going down. There was no back bending there. When the spine is straight, it can rotate, which is what we need in the golf swing. Second thing is we have plenty of flex in the knees. That's a very big deal for most senior golfers. First thing that happens in the backswing is those knees lock out. When the knees lock out, we cannot activate the glutes, and it becomes something we definitely do not want. Tilt in the shoulders here should somewhere be close to neutral, which means a little bit more this way as opposed to tilted, because remember the strike is down. The next thing we'll talk about is his feet. We're going to go into an alignment primer after this, but for this right now, we're just going to fix his feet. So line up square for me. As you can see, his left foot was further that way, which made his hips open, which is not something we want either. Unlock the knees a little bit more. His arms are hanging kind of straight down from his shoulder sockets, which is pretty much what we want. This is, I believe, like a 7 or 6 iron. The ball is way too far back. So I have a 3-ball rule. The 3-ball rule is there are 3 balls, starting with where the driver starts off your left foot. There's a ball behind that, and then a ball behind that. The driver ball is where you play driver, 3-wood, 5-wood. The ball behind that is where you play mid irons. The ball behind that is everything else. Everything is front of center, even the wedges. There is no reason that amateurs should be playing balls back of center. The further back the ball is, the more the downward strike that has to happen, you have the much larger chance of you hitting it back.
So this is actually a really, really controversial thing where ball placement. As soon as we post videos on YouTube and talk about ball placement, all of the critics come out of the woodwork saying, no. Please note that the reason why we're saying ball placement is here for our audience is because it makes the body work so much more efficiently if we're doing it here. you're not good enough. If you're watching this video, chances are you're not good enough to put the ball back in your stance because it forces you to do something that you're not capable of doing. You're not on TV. You're not getting paid to play the game.
Yep. The further back that ball is, the more downward the strike has to be, and most amateurs can't pull off swinging the club through and end up hitting it fat or thin and miss time it. It's just usually not a good idea.
Good.
Good.
You want to do a front angle on this 3-ball rule?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the 3-ball rule from the front is off his left foot for driver, then mid irons there, and then short irons and wedges there. Everything is well front of center. Remember that the golf swing is an arc, right? We want the ball to be hit after everything has had time to rotate, and we don't have to manipulate it with our hands. So we don't want the ball to be too far back. We want to hit it with the continuation of rotation.
Now, if this seems really crazy for you now, as we go through this, you will start to feel your body move differently so that you can actually get to the ball with ease.
Right.
So bear with us, hang on, don't tune out, drink the Kool-Aid, it will work.
Yep.
Good?
Good.